I've got some streaming on both right now, so I'm gonna call that a good sign and start the show. All right, it's 8 a.m. So welcome
Hold
everyone.
on, wait.
Oh, come
I
on.
see Twitch, but I haven't seen YouTube yet.
Oh, it'll be coming. It's coming. Slowly
You
trickling
sound
in.
so sure, but
Oh, I don't usually. The Twitch is a little bit quirky, but YouTube usually goes for first try, so let's hope for the best.
it looks like it is going. So
Okay. All right. So welcome everyone. Fun Monday morning here. Welcome USS Rover and Shook, the only ones in the chat so far. But this is the Foolish Tech Show. We're doing our 8 a.m. thing today, the early time. We start out early in the day and progress later and later as the week moves on. You can join us at foolishit.com/live if you want to join us in the IRC chat, or foolishtechshow.com. We have live streams on there for both of our video feeds for Twitch and YouTube, as well as the IRC links. So join us in there, and you may want to open up in a separate window if you don't want them to stream automatically. I think they like to auto start. Um, so we're here primarily to talk about our software and services. So if any of you have any questions about any of that business, please bring that to the table and interrupt us. We're more than happy to break away from our usual otherwise tech discussion to discuss that. And let's see, I'm joined with some of our crew today. How's everyone this morning? Brantley and Nick and maybe
Hi.
Ken.
I'd rather not say. I'm still sick from last week.
that's not good.
Sick and crawled inside Nick and died. Hopefully that will work its way through.
And then got infected.
And I poop it out, but it's still.
So USS Rover has an interesting question. Would it be okay for a different show, Geeks Interrupted, to test IRC chat? Sure. Are you asking if they can use our IRC server for it?
Yeah, what exactly is the question?
I mean, we just set one up so that we would have more control over it and things like that. But Freenode, they could set up an IRC on there. What we use for our web page, I believe it's called. Let's see. Yeah, Kiwi IRC. That's what we use for the web page, and it is free. You can set it up, and then they can just have it join the channel and page from there. They can ask me some questions if they have issues setting that thing up, but it's pretty easy to connect it to any server and any IRC channel you have set up. But I don't really have a problem with them making a channel on our server. Do you, Nick?
I don't know.
It should be fine. We'll probably even watch it and join in, possibly. Although if it's 2 hours before now, probably not. But
Rover, what do you mean specifically by test IRC chat? Can you give me just a specific
well,
example of
they're
what you're
gonna
referring to?
join our server and have an IRC chat room like we do.
Why? For what purpose?
Because people like having chat and videos. So obviously it works well.
Okay. All right, Rover. If we're off base, I just it seems a little odd request. Certainly, since you are able.
Well, I mean, like I said, if they don't want to rely on our servers, which I don't know, I can't say that our servers will be up all the time. They usually aren't down, but I can't say that they'll be up other than for our show times, because that's the only time we have this dedicated for. So,
Okay, yeah, I see what he's at. Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. All right.
it shouldn't.
If it's just an issue of the server, please go ahead and use it.
Morning, Proctor.
Shouldn't be any issue. Proctor, don't start the show. Michael's already done it. Cool. We'll check that out.
We might need to tell Proctor and chat. He looks determined for something.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh wait, I got a couple things to start off today,
Okay.
and I just told Proctor, so if Proctor's listening. All right, so first one I want to start off with today is worst job in the world, possibly, for someone in our crew, or it could be a life changer. Hillary Clinton is looking for a new security engineer. So, after
If you want to go to jail,
after
next
20,000 some emails got leaked on WikiLeaks from Clinton's private email server, she needs a new security engineer. And yes, that's what I was
Sounds
thinking.
like, yeah, she needs
think she
somebody
ain't gonna
new to
throw
throw
you
under the
i.e.
bus.
Patsy.
Yeah, Patsy, somebody to throw under the bus.
Congratulations, you are my new Patsy.
In this case, I'm actually in agreement with you folks about that.
I mean, it could be a great
It would be the
job,
worst
though.
job ever.
If
to
you
be
do,
the government's,
if you
like,
do a
server
great
or-
job at it and make it so that she doesn't get hacked or get any problems or have a own private email server,
No.
maybe you do a great job. But
No, because you're just going to be the one she's advertising for. In the meantime, there's a privately advertised for one or someone working elsewhere in the government that's going to go behind and make whatever you do bad. So she can get away with some thing that she's trying to do that you don't even know about.
That's exactly highly possible.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But anyway.
All right. So the other side of that is, holy crap, if you were not at Comic-Con this year, then you missed out on quite a lot. I got a whole bunch of trailers for new awesome movies coming up.
So
and it seems like they got a whole bunch of
remakes.
A whole bunch of new comic movies coming out. Some of them actually look good, so we'll see how that plays out. But the first interesting trailer was the Wonder Woman trailer. It's going to be an interesting movie, possibly. I'm just going to kind of throw them all up here because you can come back and look at them anytime. Because there are quite a few.
Oh, such a ham, Lucy. Stop.
Next one is Justice League. I guess I can add the... Cut that. And that one was... Wonder Woman. We have Justice League. That one actually looked pretty interesting. Is this the one with Ben Affleck? Is Justice League the one with Batman?
Yep.
Yeah. So they still got Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't see how anybody thought that was a good idea after Batman versus Superman. But apparently they're giving him another go at it. He actually seems like the worst part of that movie, but everything else looked pretty interesting. The way they did the Flash, I think, looked really cool as well. So, next one.
Never mind.
What?
Nothing. Never mind.
Okay. Next one we got is Kong Skull Island, and this is another remake of King Kong. Got some pretty high-profile actors in it, and like Samuel L. and John Goodman. And this one, they are going to the basis of this story is some guy believes that there used to be ancient animals that were incredibly huge, and they go to the island to try to find one of them, and they didn't tell anybody else that they were probably going to find a huge ape, and they do find a huge ape. So it kind of seems like it's the the most recent remix of King Kong. It kind of seems like a better version of that, so I hope that will be good. This one seemed really, really interesting. So they've already had a sequel to the Blair Witch movie, Blair Witch 2, and it did incredibly horrible. I was actually at
Whoa. I actually saw that movie. I didn't think it was quite as bad as some people said, as I recall. I remember watching it back in the.
Well, I didn't like the first one.
Yeah, I honestly, yeah, it wasn't the first
I
one.
worked in a movie theater when the first one came out, and I thought everybody was just dumb. But anyway, the second one, comparatively to the first one, did horrendously. This one,
Maybe was there a third one? Honestly, they there was one I saw. I thought that was halfway decent. Let me look at that.
you may have liked it, and it's highly probably you did, because you do like some crappy movies sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, they've only had Blair Witch, which did incredibly well and was completely not thought to be doing that well. And then Blair Witch 2 came out, had extremely high hopes, and they did a horrible job with it.
Oh, Volume 3 is the one you're talking about.
Yeah. So this is the new one, The Woods. It could have a chance. So I'm not gonna rule it out until I see it, but I'm not going in with high hopes.
Yeah.
Rain Man over here. What are you doing?
Yeah, definitely not high hopes. Definitely not. So this next one is probably my most anticipated one, and this is actually just some B-side footage from it. This is Suicide Squad.
We've already seen some footage of that, but this is some new clips, I take it?
Well, this is some behind-the-scenes stuff, and it's kind of cool seeing them all dressed up like that and not being in character. So, and kind of cool to watch them do the whole thing. So,
Gotcha.
I thought that was pretty cool. They have a new one. I believe that's what this one is. I think so. I think this is the newest Suicide Squad trailer, but I think this one looks like it's going to be the best one if it I don't know. I guess I feel like it's going to be the best one. It has the most potential, it feels like.
So what we've learned this morning is Brantley is biased towards movies.
Yeah, very.
This one's going to be horrible. This one's going to be successful. This one's going to be.
I highly am.
Brantley is doing
usually pretty good at it.
Movie predictions, like with a Siskel and Ebert weather vane floating above his head.
Well, like this one, I was kind of interested in this one. I'd never heard of Doctor Strange before, but
That's funny.
After watching this second trailer, it seems like it's even better.
Hey, wait. Let me ask you a question real quick, and this is important. Did you tell me about Doctor Strange and ask me about Doctor Strange, and I told you who Doctor Strange was, or was that Jade?
No, that was me. The first trailer came out, and I was like, "This looks awesome! I've never heard of this comic before." But and you told us all about it.
But see, we never mind. It just because of her and the MS, and I was like, you told me that. And we had this conversation. I explained them to you, and but I thought she brought it up to me because it was like the Sherlock guy, or maybe you mentioned that. I don't know.
He is going to be in it, and he is the main guy.
I just need to tell her later. I was like, that wasn't your MS. We didn't have that conversation. My bad brain.
Yeah, it was because we did talk about it because I pointed to this trailer out before. It does look really cool though. What I really like about it, even if they completely mess up the whole comic book story, and why I think it has a lot of potential, is a lot of the Inception style filming is going to be really cool, I think. And it's hard to mess up how cool that is. So at least I think so. We'll see. Yeah, but I was excited about Doctor Strange after you explained it to me. It seems interesting.
Indeed.
Do you know, speaking of comics that I've never heard of, do you know Legion?
No. But I never like read any Doctor Strange either. I just saw him pop up here and there and other things.
Didn't they make a movie, Legion?
I don't know, but Legion, the trailer that I just posted, is insane. Like, literally.
More bias.
The definition of insane. No, the guy is a schizophrenic, and
oh, literally insane. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally insane. I thought that was pretty crazy. It's a really crazy video. I highly recommend checking it out. All of these videos are worth watching at least once. This one seemed like the most interesting. This one is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Proctor, I feel like you would really like this one.
Oh, cool. I'm big into King Arthur.
Have a feeling.
What's really interesting about it, though, is King Arthur is played by the Sons of Anarchy guy.
What?
Jax.
What?
Jax Teller is King Arthur. And the whole movie is kind of styled in that, like, angry biker Sons of Anarchy kind of way. So if you want to see King Arthur as angry bikers, I think you're going to love this movie.
Interesting. That sound like his normal persona.
Not at all. The guy that did it, though, Guy Ritchie, is known for that type of action. So
wasn't Madonna with him for a while?
I don't see how I can get around him being Jax Teller. Like, I don't see how I can get around him being a motorcycle gang boss.
Okay.
All right, two more things for Comic-Con, and then I'll be done. Okay. This one is the new J.K. Rowling movie.
Oh, the Harry Potter woman.
Yep, this one is not based on Harry Potter, but you can see a lot of the influence from it. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Apparently a bunch of magical beasts got released into the world, and a wizard has to track them all down because he was the one that let them go in the first place. So that looks interesting. I mean, they don't have a lot to go against Ash versus Evil Dead, or they don't have a lot to go against Harry Potter, so it could be pretty good.
Sounds a little. I mean, are there parallels between the worlds, or is it still like a random wizard from Hogwarts or something?
Michael, as far as I know, it's still the same kind of Harry Potter magical world. It's just in America.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, like
it won't have any of the characters from the other one. It's all American.
It looked like they had a Dobby there, but I'm assuming it's just that's what Dobbies look like.
Yeah,
that aren't Dobby. Well, the last thing I had is the best, and I saved it for last, and this is going to make everyone here upset that they were not at Comic-Con this weekend, because it's not on the internet, but Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2 is apparently going to be amazing, because if you were at Comic-Con, you got to watch the first episode already.
Oh, really? Oh.
So episode
that would have been
1 of Season 2 has been watched at Comic-Con, and I was like, surely somebody recorded that and posted it online, but no one has yet. So
I'm digging that keg.
Yeah, he's chainsawing a keg in that clip picture there. So
yeah. Hello. What is he doing? Where is he at?
So that looks awesome. If you are at Comic-Con, awesome. There's also a ton of cosplay videos out there if you're into checking out people dress up as characters. Apparently, the San Diego Comic-Con is one of the best known cosplay places. So if you're into that, check that out too.
No one is.
They're pretty cool sometimes, I think.
Mm. Except for Michael.
So, I spent my weekend looking into Raspberry Pi performance, MicroSD performance. I didn't do the analysis across some of my other boards, but I was working with a guy that was just getting on board. He was building his first Pi hole, and he had made a slight mistake with the SD card purchase that he made. I had recommended one thing, and he kind of didn't get exactly what I recommended, but it was still a reasonable product. But I was looking how to tweak it a little bit for him to get the best out of what he did get, and I came across this, and it's a recent article, and it applies equally well to the Pi 2 and the Pi 3. But yeah, just like as with the Pi and Raspi config, you can overclock it, and there's various parts that you can overclock. You can overclock the RAM, you can overclock the video portion, you could overclock the core, or the cores plural. But they give you kind of fine-grained control over that, and even some voltage control as well. Now that's the more traditional overclocking, but there's also the subsystems as well on the Pi and Pi 3, Pi 2 and Pi 3. And the micro SD card slot is apparently clocked at 50 megahertz by default. And I want to say that on the Pi 3 they may have upped it to 80. To 80, 83 megahertz, something like that. But I thought that they had already put in some performance boost in there, but the article here says 50 is the default. But at any rate, you could tolerate up to 100. Now, what determines what you can set this at is not so much the Pi itself, it's the actual SD card that you stick in there. So, depending upon the quality of your SD card, you may be able to achieve this 100 megahertz rate. In fact, every card that's capable of either the UHS 1 standard or the UHS 3 standard is capable of this. So as long as your card advertises itself as UHS 1 or 3, or 1 or greater rather, then you shouldn't have any problem implementing this. I tested it out on mine. It seemed to work just fine. It did seem to yield the benefits that it mentions. You'll have to run your own benchmarks, but it does tell you how to do that in the article as well. And I can basically corroborate that. So
it's interesting that you're recommending overclocking what's probably the most well-known fault point on single board computers.
Yeah. Well, that's only because people use cheap SD cards with them. Yeah. If you want to spend $2 for a 128 gig SD card,
I'm pretty sure it's because of the way that SD cards are designed that it's just an inherently bad system for stability in that size.
At any rate, it's conservatively clocked at 50 megahertz to address exactly what.
That's why. That's why the Wi-Fi Pineapple Tetra has no SD card, is because they said it was such an aggravation, and it causes more problems than it really helps.
Okay. Well, whatever. At any rate, if you're using your Pi as a database
they should
server,
just have built on hard drive space. That would make the most sense. Why don't they have NAND on the single board computers?
There probably are some that do, and some have built-in MMC, and that is effectively NAND. So that is something that they have. But if you currently have a Pi 2 or a 3, their only storage option aside from USB storage is
which ones have the built-in MMC?
Well, like the Odroid C2 has that as an option. It's not absolutely built in. It's a module, but effectively MMC are just about akin to build in. Let's see. I think one of the banana pies have some MMC built in.
Okay. Well, just to everyone out there, if you don't trust your SD card, I don't recommend overclocking your SD card slot.
As I said, if your SD card is rated at UHS 1 speed, this is not for Class 10 devices. It'll fail on almost every Class 10 device.
What does it do if you do increase it?
It gives you about a 50% performance boost in disk operations. So if you were using it as a database server, as I mentioned, there could be in some cases as much as 100-fold improvement in performance based upon.
If you're using a Raspberry Pi as a database server, you got bigger problems. Proctor, you're on your laptop mic or your webcam mic or something. Well, now for something completely different. Google will now tell you how to register to vote in your home state.
Is somebody like flushing a toilet over there or something?
It's
Sounds
Proctor.
like
It's Proctor's mic. It's open. That's
I
better.
don't know where any noise is coming from.
It's in your head, Proctor. When you have XSplit, I noticed that too. Whenever you're thinking about something or playing
Somebody's
some video,
working on the plumbing in his head.
it broadcasts it. It's weird like that.
All right, well, I'm on the headset mic now.
So Google needs to tell you how to register to vote now.
Yep.
Wasn't clear enough before.
Possibly not.
Mm,
There are different ways to do it, so.
well, if you got a driver's license,
That's
the
pretty
most
easy. There's a
easy
lot
way
of different ways to do
Yeah,
it.
getting a driver's license is usually the most
Use the
convenient way for most
mail.
people. Driver's license. You get a driver's license, you have the option to register to vote. In fact, it's less of an option these days.
I would like to deregister to vote. Can you do that? I'm pulling myself out. I'm not competent enough.
Yeah, you can, just don't register to vote.
Oh, but I already
The
did.
voting registration really has nothing to do with anything. It's whether or not you actually get out to vote.
I know, but I'm trying to make a statement here.
Statement. I've always found it increasingly difficult to make any sort of statement with voting or not voting. In fact, it's
Pointless.
any statement any statement you would attempt to make kind of gets lost in the fact that you didn't do it at all. So making a statement by not doing something is a little bit harder usually too.
Well, it is harder because you actually need people to qualify. You need more people to do it.
Exactly. You know, if nobody showed up, yes, it would send a clear message.
Which is
how
exactly
do you
like.
convince
But
200
it's exactly the same thing as voting for an independent. Really.
In the sense, the odds of that.
In the sense that you're not going to do it without everybody doing it too. You know. And even if you do, they probably don't care.
Yeah. Well.
It's a one-party system, and you know it.
So I'm not a fan of Kickstarters, as you may know, but I did think this one was an interesting idea worth talking about because I've actually had this type of device before, and I thought it was really useful. But essentially, they're coming up with a laptop shell that you can connect your smartphone to, and it turns into a computer. So your smartphone is basically the power processor behind this laptop shell. And it worked really well for me when I had it. I had it for the first Droid, Motorola Droid, and I really like the idea. But what are your thoughts on that as far as if you have to carry around a laptop and a cell phone, wouldn't it be nicer to have just a cell phone that hooks up to a laptop shell? Or
I'm not entirely a big fan of these ideas because, well, here's the thing. I mean, how exactly does it work? Is it just displaying what's on your cell phone on a larger display with a keyboard?
Well, basically
or is it more than that?
No, the one that I had, it detected when you plugged into it, and then it launched its own interface, kind of like an app.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it launches a launcher on your phone.
Okay.
displays it on here. Your phone stays the same screen it is and has been and whatever. You just get a second display that you can use, and it's basically like having a Android book at that point. Like you've seen the cheap laptops that have Androids.
As long as the interface is acceptable, but certainly bringing a phone interface to a larger screen and the keyboard and a more traditional pointing interface might I don't know that those would meld too well. But if the interface is appropriate for the laptop type device, then yeah, why not have a little bit more flexibility? I don't know. I just would think that there would be minimum. This seems like a hardware device that there's cheap. It's very hard to profit with the hardware. Where are they gonna? Where's this company going? I mean, are they just gonna be making cheap, basically docking stations for laptops? It just doesn't sound like a sustainable real business model.
Well, that's kind of what it's going for, is making your laptop model into basically a docking station for your phone, which our phones are getting to the point where they're processor powerful enough to actually do things like laptops.
I don't know.
And when you carry a shell of a laptop versus an actual laptop, the weight difference is incredible. Like, even with the new laptops out there, you can't make something lighter that has less parts built into it.
I mean, I get what you're coming from, but again, for a hollow, $100, I don't know. Will the price point be attractive to a large enough number of people for them to be able to mass produce this in a way that would allow them a good room for profit? I don't know. Maybe they can already profit from it.
I guess that's what the Kickstarter stuff is for, but
yeah, I
mean, again, Motorola did it once, and obviously you don't see those in everybody's pockets and briefcases. So.
Well, there you go. That would be telling if these guys with their
it's still an interesting one, though.
$732,000 in backing can accomplish what a multi-billion-dollar company like Motorola could, And that's not to say that little people can't do.
Well, it's still an interesting one because theirs is a different setup. They're going for any Android phone versus that one was obviously tied directly to the Motorola Droid. So that limited it. I mean, if you and all of your friends could share a shell, that actually makes it a lot more worth it. Now, you only have to carry one laptop for all 5 of your friends versus 6 laptops. But as this next article points out, you might not want to take your cell phone with you anywhere anyway, because apparently coming back from anywhere and re-entering America, you have 0 rights to privacy, so they can just take your phone for no reason.
Awesome.
All that kind of stuff. And this one is I posted this one to the Slashdot instead of directly to the article because the article is actually a lady's Facebook post rant, and then they have a couple other links to some other older issues, and then there's actually quite a lot of good discussion in the comments, so if you want to check those out, feel free to do that later. So. It is interesting though, like if they can just take your stuff for no reason and not tell you any reason and then expect you to continue on into the country like it never happened. Yes, you did have a laptop, but now you don't. Sorry. That's how it works today. Proctor, here's another one for you. I did not know this was a thing, but apparently this is a thing. There is a medieval combat world championship, and that is exactly how it sounds, like a bunch of people doing medieval fighting, like jousting and sword fights and things of that nature. but in world championship level.
Awesome. I knew there were similar things on a smaller scale. I didn't know there was a worldwide competition.
Yeah, this is like a Renaissance festival for
Yeah.
the world. Yeah, world competition. Interesting. I don't know. I've been to Renfest. I generally like them. They're fun. They're great events for the kids too. But I just didn't realize there was actual competitions. I mean, events like, is this like an Olympics?
I guess, I don't know.
I mean, well, you could, ride a horse and stuff like that. I don't, I didn't realize people actually competed in the jousting. Maybe they do. I don't know. I just thought that was just a show, that they put on for the entertainment.
They obviously
audience.
do. They have a world championship for it. And jousting would have to be in there. I mean, it's medieval combat. Joust is like medieval combat defined.
My idea of medieval combat is getting lost in a maze. That's about all I want to do at Renaissance festivals.
Have you ever wondered what to do if you've been attacked by leeches? This will tell you what to do. It's actually pretty easy.
Attacked, accosted by leeches.
It's
leeches
actually
are
pretty easy to remove leeches.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm
The hard part is dealing with the blood loss afterward.
Oh, no,
Because they
rip them off.
Well, no, you don't rip them off. First
Burn
off,
them off.
don't burn them off. Second off, all you have to do is actually just take your fingernail and slide them off, and that releases their inner sucker, and then they kind of just pop off after that.
Oh.
So do not rip them off. Do not burn them off.
Oh, okay.
You can put salt on them.
Salt.
Easily slide them off with your fingernail. The tip of your fingernail does it. But the hard part is because they put anticoagulant in your blood and on the wound, so it just profusely bleeds.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much you put out of that, it just profusely bleeds. Hydrogen peroxide was his favorite thing, and then just changing bandages over and over. He did have another interesting video because I checked out his channel after watching that one. He stuck his hand in a pile of red ants, fire ants, to see what would happen and what it would feel like, and obviously it was a horrible, terrible idea. But then he found out that you can help alleviate ant stings with urine. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. This is the one where he actually put his hands in the
urine
fire ants. This is where he put his hands
and then the urine.
I'm more curious as how he discovered this.
I believe he seems more like he seems more like somebody. Let me try out what this person has told me. Hey, I found this out.
Well, I mean, at some point in the desert, and when topical ointments weren't around, the something was stung, and I'm sure people just tried peeing on stuff because there was nothing else,
Well, I like the situation he described. He was like, if you're out for a picnic and you happen to set your picnic blanket down on a pile of red ants, then obviously the best thing to do at that time is to pee on each other.
And the picnic equipment and
yeah, everything. Pee it on all. Hopefully you've brought a toddler with you to this adventure, because they would love that.
Pee on it. Anyway, yeah. I can't. Never mind.
This was a pretty interesting art here. So this person plays a note and then makes art from it. So this is the sound of music, basically. I thought it was pretty cool.
The
look of music, I guess, not the sound of music.
Oh, I forgot to post this when I was talking about my SD cards, but here's some benchmark comparison of some SD cards before and after the overclock and stuff, if you guys want to see what type of performance I was talking about. And this also gives you an idea of which cards are capable of supporting what Brantley and I were talking about the compatibility. And and it actually is possible to overclock above 100, but typically most, if not all, cards don't support that.
So Disneyland in California has a new ride coming out. The ride does seem pretty interesting in itself, but what was really interesting about this video, and if y'all can check it out before I get into too much detail, is the guy that's explaining the new ride. Apparently, he got hired and is promoted high up enough in Disney where he can walk around with his ear. What's it called when the African religions expand their earlobes for no reason?
That's called.
Yeah, well, he did that, but it looks like he did that with like keychain rings. So like he's got like this huge ear full of like keychain ring looking things.
It looks like he just has a pile of junk hanging from his ear.
Yeah, and he's just talking like, "Oh, this is nothing. I'm not even gonna point this out. This weird thing hanging off the side of my face." But it's like, how did he rise to the ranks that high in Disney? With like, I kept thinking, like, did he start at Disney and then decide to go do that, and then like
probably
kept getting away with it year after year until they thought, "Oh, it's cute," or how did that work out? Like, did someone at Disney hire him with that in his ear? Anyway, they must have hired him on the internet. It was an online interview.
There's a lot of internet hiring going on these days anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. There is.
I thought they were India. I thought it was India that did that.
Did hired over the internet? No,
they got hired over the internet.
Expand their earlobes.
Yeah, they. Because
I know there's
the necks. They do the neck, right? Is that India, or am I just confusing India and Africa?
I'm not sure about India, but I know they do it in some area in Africa.
I did the neck, and they put the big ring bracelet things on your neck
to make the necks longer.
Yeah, I thought it was like a yoga thing. Yoga flame. Sorry, Street Fighter. Just going back to
it. Those have all been. I've been more seeing them in the Africa type areas. I've seen like similar stuff for the India, like when they're dressed up and all that, but I don't know if it's like they continuously have that. I don't know.
What if you don't have earlobes? Like Victoria doesn't have earlobes. They're just like, there are no lobes. They're just,
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you can't do it.
I mean, but would that like lower your status in the tribe? Or
obviously, yes. If you you don't even have stuff to stretch out. Like obviously, it's like you showed up to a car show on your tricked out bicycle.
No.
Have y'all ever had Wawa?
Yeah, they make
Oh, yeah.
the best lemonade, or they sell their whatever their Wawa brand lemonade. It's phenomenal.
I'd
Yeah.
never heard of it or been to it
I used to love going to Wawa's.
until Johnny showed it to me in Florida.
I'll say they're up north a little.
It says in the article that they're northeastern.
Yeah, they started building them in Florida, I guess, so that all the northerners could have a taste of home.
Because Florida's the north of the south.
They do make fairly good sandwiches, and smoothies. So this article I posted though shows you how to make all their sandwiches at home.
Well, get their lemonade. I'm telling you.
I will check.
Yeah, like Sheets was kind of the answer in this state when Wawa started invading Virginia. Like around early 2000s, I think, for at least my area. I was there. Like Newport News, Hampton area. I remember when they got best lemonade. I'm just saying, go get some. Buy it by the gallon.
Wawa is way better than Sheets, though.
I know.
There's a Wawa and a Sheets right beside each other. I would go into
the Wawa.
Oh, heck yeah, me too. Plus, it's kind of better name. I mean, Sheets is like, well, I understand. I could see one liking the name Sheets, but I like Wawa.
Yeah, Wawa is a much better name too.
Wawa? Wawa.
Wawa. So this was a pretty funny article, I thought. 9 web marketing fails, and of course the one that tops the list is URL tattoos. Do y'all remember the person that got like a whole bunch of porn sites on his face and changed his name to HostGator? Yeah. So he got a bunch of porn sites all over his face tattooed, $4,000 per tattoo on that, and then he changed his name to HostGator for $15,000.
That's it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, geez, man, people are getting paid like a few $1,000s to put something on their life for at least 5 years.
Yeah, that's for your lifetime. You'll have that spent in a week, but that's for lifetime.
Yeah. Some other companies have tried to get towns to change their name. Apparently, a town in Georgia, Sugar Hill, has been offered $3.75 million for 10 years to change their name to Sugar Daddy. And they turned it down. So I did think it was. I didn't really understand this sentence, but I thought it was interesting. Is that for $20,000, Santa, Idaho agreed to switch to SecretSanta.com. The town collects and responds to letters from children who write to Santa. Oh, that was pretty cool. The AOL disc are up here as well. Your 1,000 free hours of AOL and those collector's items. Apparently AOL worked it out that it ended up costing them about $35 per user to market those discs out like that. So to completely cover the US in AOL discs, it cost them $35 for each user that they had already.
AOL customer? Is that what they mean?
Huh?
Per paying AOL customer?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that every AOL customer they had at the time
paid $35 to get that.
$35 to try to get new customers out there.
Hey, you know what? It probably, I mean, was this a fail? But I don't think so. I don't know if this was necessarily a fail. My lawyer still uses AOL. Okay, people do it.
I'm actually kind of on the same. I don't know if it was truly a fail, but did they get? I guess they have gotten $35 back from each of their users.
I mean, and this is at a time when, you know, your options, like all of the options from then are gone now. still. You know, there was Prodigy was probably the next biggest. It was CompuServe at first, and you have the major ones that weren't command line. You know, and then GNU I think was actually bought by AOL or something. I had something like that before, but they've all disappeared. You know, they bought CompuServe too.
Yeah. So AOL is still charging people for dial-up subscriptions. So
They are, and they're still charging people just for emails. I think you can get a free email, but I think they still charge you for an email too, or something. But you can access their. What do they have anymore? A website? I mean, it's like a client that they still have the client, I guess.
yeah,
right?
they still have the client.
Yeah, they don't charge anymore. I mean, they don't charge for the email address. They just charge for if you use the AOL client still and have even another ISP, they'll charge you.
Yeah, but
to use the client.
To use the client, but I guess my question is that, or what I'm seeing is that people are still using the client even for that email, that free email address.
Oh yeah, I've seen a ton of people do that. I mean, that's like,
you know, instead of just using an email client.
People from that client.
Yeah, it's like, have you tried Gmail?
It is extremely difficult to convince people that are using that to switch.
I know. They don't understand though, you know, that they're like, but I don't have to pay for that. What?
Yeah, you don't have to pay for it, and you can access it in a way that is so much faster and more convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the idea behind, and what's grabbed most of those people that you're talking about, is that it simplifies the internet, and it's the internet gateway. Like basically, it's here we'll guide you through the internet. And
well, you know, come to think of it, it's also the social media. It's also the social media aspects of AOL that were, you know, present.
The instant messenger is what made it so that so many of those parents had AOL.
The chat rooms, or AOL chat rooms.
Yeah.
You know, instead of IRC or something, AOL chat rooms, and there was other things, parts of social parts of that. You know, the little red heart. I don't know.
I think that's something I'll always thank Google for, no matter how long I live, and no matter how bad Google does, is that they came out with a page that just had a search box.
Oh yeah, that was so nice.
Everybody else, people like AOL, CompuServe, and everybody was trying to basically put up a door so that you had to access the internet through them.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the other search companies, Alta Vista, Yahoo, all of those had categories that you were trying to navigate through to get to web pages.
Well, not Dogpile. I got turned on to Dogpile at the same time as Google, actually, early 2000, I think. But yeah, they were good. I actually found Dogpile back in the day to have better search for technical stuff. You know, technician related stuff. It always seemed to give a way better results than Google. But that was back then. I'd been using it forever.
Well, if it hadn't have been for Google's algorithm, we would have.
Yeah, well, Google just ended up indexing more at first.
Yeah. Well, their spiders were what changed the game.
Yeah.
Their spiders were able to index everything faster, and then their algorithm took advantage of that better.
Yeah.
But that, and then adding Gmail, that that got off about 3/4 of those AOL email people. So those two things like basically changed the entire internet direction. I feel for the better, much for the better. So, the GoDaddy had an infamous ad. Apparently they're known for their entirely risque ads. One of them, they got hammered with possible dog torture. So
dog
check
torture?
those out if you want to watch them.
What?
Yeah, so apparently, I kind of watched the commercial, and from what I recall, this dog falls off the back of a truck, and then it makes its way home, and then the owner picks it up and is like, "I'm so glad you're back, because I just sold you online for $7,000." The dog had been lost, and then they were happy it was back because they sold it online. And that was what GoDaddy thought was a good idea for a commercial.
That's messed up.
This is animal cruelty.
Yeah, that's what they
need
got
to-
hit with a lot. So, another interesting one was Vodafone paid a person to streak across a rugby field.
It says streakers. It didn't say one person. It says streakers.
Oh yeah, you're right. It does say multiple. Wearing nothing but their logo.
Where's Glenn?
Apparently, that did not go over well.
Yeah.
You're right. It was in Australia, so Glenn would know about it. Now, this next one I thought was probably the most interesting one, and it definitely looks the coolest because it was designed to look cool. It's an advertisement for the Sony TV. So apparently they paid San Francisco to shut down their streets for a while they threw thousands of colorful bouncy balls down the hills of San Francisco. Watching the video is super awesome, but like I can't imagine having my car parked there while those bouncy balls are just bouncing down.
Well, yeah, what they said in there was like a litterphobe's nightmare. And
can you imagine like the cleanup effort after that?
I was thinking about that, and you know,
thousands of bouncy balls. No, they couldn't. They couldn't have done that, right? There's no way. Like I can't even keep up with one bouncy ball I throw down a hill. I definitely wouldn't kept up with thousands of them.
You need like a team of searchers, you know, like missing boy kind of thing in the woods, you know. But I keep going back up to this goldenpalace.com forehead up there, and I'm like, not only is that a bad idea, but that's a bad tattoo, you know.
It was very bad tattoo.
And the hair right here she's got on her hairy forehead is not helping the G and O either.
The last one was pretty interesting. Someone got a company to sponsor her birth. She sold the rights to sponsor her birth on eBay, and for $1,000, she got to wear branded T-shirts, temporary tattoos on her belly, and release select video from the birth, which they could host on their site. So. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. If you can get $1,000 for a company to pay you to have a baby, and them not have any right to that baby afterwards, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Like you're already pregnant, you're already going to be out of work for a little bit. Might as well make some money off of that time.
More practical.
What's more practical than that?
A list of top 10 Android apps that drain your battery. So. If you have one of these apps, you might want to.
Oh, dearie. You want practical because I keep forgetting, and we're near the end of the show. There's not much going on here, so let me switch to this thing right quick. Gosh, what is that link? No, don't listen to him. I was checking out the Cards Against Humanity link that Futures Tech Eric put in the chat on Friday. And it reminded me that I had a Chrome plugin I completely forgotten about. And let's see, what is it called? Oh. Greenhouse, okay? And so it basically, like anytime you're on a website that mentions a politician's name, you're going to get, oh geez, don't apply effects. There we go. Oh, nice thing there. So you're going to get like the name will be highlighted, and you'll have like a little hover over effect, and then it'll pop up this bit from Greenhouse, which gives you the all the cash they're taking basically. So and then you have like it'll tell you small contributions as the percent of small contributions, or as opposed to the large ones, of course, and then the the industry, all the breakdown of it. The other cool thing is if you click on these links, it throws up other links like the let's see, the less than $200 bit right there will link you to a list of all members of Congress and these stats. You can click the thing to beside the percentage to see details on reform.to, and the link at the top opens Donald Trump's actual name opens openssecrets.org, and a summary on the politician himself, herself, whatever. I thought that was all really interesting, and I installed it like months ago, but completely forgot I had that installed because I tend to avoid politics these days, but just for my health. But after seeing that, I was reminded of it, and I thought that would be really neat for some people to know, because it's very helpful if you're into that thing, a lot of articles and such. So, anyhow.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Of course, it will, of course, the plugin needs the right to look at everything you're looking at and then modify the web page, but if you trust them, I feel it's all right. I trust them more than the politicians they're
researching. Well, I have one last link for us to wrap it up on today. Everyone here except for me and Johnny by force is a big coffee drinker. Johnny would be if he didn't have a heart condition, but I've never been a big coffee person, but this link is quite interesting. So apparently there is a cup of coffee that can go for $100 a cup, upwards of $200 to $400 per kilo. And what makes this coffee...
Green Mountain? I mean, the blue...
no, it's called civet coffee. And
cat
yes,
poop.
it is not cat poop. It's Asian palm civet poop. So basically, if you look at the picture on that link I have there, they have all these animals lined up in cages with a bunch of coffee beans in front of them. They let them eat the coffee beans, and then when they poop it out, they scoop their poop up and extract the coffee beans, and then make your coffee with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is sought after.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I've heard about
I'm happy with coffee the old-fashioned way,
and somewhere else.
not covered in food.
Maybe it's not the only animal that they do this with.
I've heard, I think
I've heard
that's another one too.
What? Elephants? Can you imagine sifting through that poop?
All right. Well,
I'm going to eat some coffee beans and poop them out. Would y'all drink it?
No, absolutely not.
And moments like that is when I'm glad I can't drink coffee.
I am almost positive this is where all of Starbucks coffee comes from.
That was my favorite coffee.
I know. And
That's the worst coffee.
Poop coffee.
Isn't it though?
I hate it. It's all just like sludge, bitter sludge. Or just funkified, with a weird off taste. And it's always served to you by some hipster punk that... Anyway, I'm just moving on.
All right. Well, let's wrap her up for this morning. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m., and we are here primarily to provide answers and support for any of our products and services. If you have any questions,
did you know the term barista, and as the way it was described to me was that by someone in the know, was that it was originally it means bartender basically, and in Italy it's not. I mean, bartenders serve coffee tenders serve liquor kind of thing. It's not a. But for me, I always everyone they're, oh, I'm a barista. Well, do you know anything? I was a bartender, and I don't make, I might make my own coffee, but I'm not going to call myself one. So come on, man. I made my own cappuccino with a Mr. Coffee before, but that don't make me a barista. I do that in a White Russian too. Anyway, I'm sorry, ran over. Did you stop this, by the way?
No, Michael, stop it.
Stop the. Oh boy, stop it. If I can get a shot when I go to Starbucks, that'll be a different story.